Sometimes you just need a good, comforting Puerto Rican meal, but we're trying to make it a little healthier without giving up the flavors we love. So today we're making chicken, rice, and beans using our reduced sodium adobo and sazón, baking the chicken instead of frying it, and still keeping one thing I'm not willing to give up, the skin. Sorry, that's asking too much. The chicken is going in the oven first because it takes the longest. I'm using bone-in, skin-on thighs and drumsticks, and I'm seasoning it with our reduced sodium adobo and sazón. I start by seasoning the underside. If you're enjoying this video, we'd appreciate it if you give it a thumbs up. Then I flip them over and pull the skin back so I can season under the skin too. Then we put the skin back and give the outside one more light dusting. I wouldn't do that with store-bought adobo though, it will be way too salty. Then these go into a 425-degree oven for 1 hour. There's actually a reason we started making our own adobo and sazón. When my stepdaughter went away to college in Pittsburgh, she couldn't find adobo and sazón in the stores there. And if you've grown up eating Puerto Rican food, you know those aren't exactly optional ingredients, so we started thinking, if you can't always find the Puerto Rican staples you grew up with, why not make our own? Once we started making them ourselves, we realized we could control the amount of salt while keeping the flavors we love. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss our next recipe. The goal is to get that brown, crispy, almost fried feeling without having to actually fry the chicken in a bunch of oil. And honestly, if I can keep the crispy skin, I'm happy. While the chicken is baking, we'll move on to the rice and beans. For the rice tonight, we're keeping it simple. I'm using 4 cups medium grain white rice and 4 cups of water. It's a 1-to-1 ratio with a little oil and salt. We'll bring everything to a boil, then we'll reduce the heat to medium and let it simmer for about 5 minutes until there's no more water sitting on top. For the beans, I'm starting with a little oil in a heated saucepan, then adding the garlic, onion, and green peppers we prepared in our Garden Week 5 update. I like to let those saute for a little bit first because it really releases all of those flavors. Now I'm adding about 5 tablespoons of store-bought green sofrito. Then we'll give this a good stir and let it heat for a little bit. Next comes our homemade sazón. I'm using 1 1/2 teaspoon of our homemade blend in place of 1 store-bought packet. Then we'll stir this again as it continues to heat. Next, we're going to add about 1/2 can of Goya tomato sauce. Then I'm adding about 2 tablespoons of onion and garlic powder. Now we're going to mix this all up and heat it a little bit more. And now a few olives. And now come the beans, 1 can undrained right into the pan. And we'll use the can to measure about 1/2 can of water. Now we're going to give everything one good stir again, and we're going to bring this to a boil. Sometimes we need to rearrange to get the best angle. Cooking in a small kitchen be like, but we're working with what we have. Okay, now that the rice has a good simmer going, we're going to reduce this to medium, and we're going to continue cooking until there's no longer any standing water in the pan. Okay, it's been about 5 minutes and our water is pretty much evaporated, so we are going to give this one more stir. We're going to reduce the heat to low, and then we're going to cover this, and we're going to continue cooking for about 30 minutes, stirring every 10 minutes. We'll also lower the beans to low temperature, and we will stir this every 10 minutes while cooking for 30 minutes as well. Okay, it's been 10 minutes, so we are going to stir the rice and the beans and set another timer for 10 minutes and continue cooking on low heat. Now everything is done, and we're going to pull the chicken out. And here's the chicken. Look at that skin. That's exactly what I was hoping for. Crispy on the outside, seasoned all the way through, and we didn't have to deep fry it to get there. The beans and rice are ready to serve as well. 1 piece of chicken, some rice, and a good serving of beans. Now before anyone points it out, yes, we're missing a vegetable, but it was a long day at the college. By the time we got home, getting dinner done and filmed was all the energy I had left. Sometimes real life means dinner doesn't come out perfectly balanced, but that's okay, because this isn't about making a perfect, healthy meal. It's about finding ways to make food we love a little better for us without taking away all the flavors. And that's really what we've been working on with our homemade adobo and sazón. We wanted the flavors we love with a little more control over what's going into them. If you want to try making your own adobo and sazón, we've put together some recipe cards available on our Ko-fi shop so that you can make your own Puerto Rican-inspired chicken, rice, and beans right at home. And of course, we're keeping the skin because some things are non-negotiable. Thank you for exploring flavor with us today. Until next time, we'll see you on the island.